Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm going to do this early in the morning, and then I might add stuff later as the day goes on. Another Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies.
Listen, people are dropping like flies out there.
I am
Boop.
off.
We're dropping like flies around here.
We're dropping like flies here.
Jeez, sir, 2 more just went down. Dropping like flies.
Too many people around here been dropping like flies already, and where's that getting us, huh? Nowhere. Fast.
Biden's being Biden's being extremist.
Crush that fly.
But I want to start with Jamie Foxx. So I've left a couple of searches up. Jamie Foxx blind blood clot. And the latest news story on this, I got the news tab open, is unsubstantiated claim that Jamie Foxx was hospitalized after COVID is going viral on social media. And so that's the last they reported 2 weeks ago on that particular search. But if you Google Jamie Foxx, there's more stuff here. John Boyega expresses concern for Jamie Foxx's health, reveals no one has heard from Jamie. So they have just put out a show on Netflix, or a trailer, that's going to be released sometime this summer, The Cloned Tyrone. And John Boyega opened up about how he worried the actor's health during the premiere of the film. The Cloned Tyrone will be released July 21st. Expresses concern while wishing Jamie well. I want him to show up here, but, I know he's dealing with what he's dealing with. I wish him all the best. I've been calling. I am just going to keep on calling. Jamie Foxx has disappeared, basically. Like, there's his daughter said some stuff, his family. But there's nobody. Like, there's nothing there in terms of, like, he's not saying anything. They've had some things come out from his rep, but he hasn't shown himself. They said he was playing pickleball, but why not post a video of that? And so he has some severe, like almost comatose-like illness, where he is incapacitated. And if he's blind and has been paralyzed, then, here's his Instagram page. So, that's the latest thing he put out there. And, they can have, anybody can post his Instagram stuff. So he's essentially disappeared. And this here, Jamie Foxx health update. And then this here, Jamie Foxx health update. And Ellis, what disease Jamie Foxx have? I don't even know what this news is. They don't know. Like, why are they even bothering to post? Why did they click the... Jamie Foxx day shift gets sequel promising date. If it goes as planned, Day Shift will soon receive a sequel produced by John Wick's Chad Stahelski. The film follows Bud Jablowski Fox as he moonlights as a vampire-killing assassin. Given the film's heavy stunt script, filmmaker J.J. Perry is hoping to land a familiar face for the tentative follow-up. Well, the guy, if he's paralyzed and blind, then there's no sequel unless they replace Jamie Foxx. But he has essentially disappeared. Until he shows back up, the story that was out there gains more and more credibility just by a lack of confronting or debunking the story or whatever it is, right? Without him saying, hey, look, this is not true. Well, okay. Then show yourself. Like, let's see you not being blind and paralyzed. So that's the first part. Are you blind and paralyzed? And the second part is what caused it. Shocking CDC statistics reveal the extent of mental health crisis among American children. It says that indicate that 15% of Americans' children aged 5 to 17 recently received treatment for mental health conditions in 2021, raising concerns about the depth of the country's ever-expanding mental health crisis. Adolescents showed the worst numbers in the data brief, with 18.9% of children aged 12 to 17 receiving treatment. So that's 20%. That's 1 out of 5 kids, 12 to 17, are receiving treatment. And that means, how many aren't? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kids going into treatment, getting medicated, going to therapy. And that's 20% of the population. It says here, including therapy, counseling, or prescription medication, versus 11% of children belonging to the younger age group. So, that's substantial. If so many kids are on medication, I mean, it's, and that just will expand over time. And then there's, the kids that are suffering who didn't go to a therapist. Why are all racehorses dropping dead at Churchill Downs? Because since April 29th, they've been wearing powerful wireless monitors called StrideSafe. And so that would mean there's some kind of Wi-Fi. See this. StrideSafe, this is their official thing here. Critical technology to develop, ensure, and preserve the safety of modern thoroughbred horses. The science behind StrideSafe, the Churchill Downs StrideSafe study. And so StrideSafe was created specifically to address the serious problems of catastrophic injury in racehorses. It's known and widely published that 85% of catastrophic injury, necrosis, I don't know, has shown the presence of pre-existing pathology. Let's see what it does here. StrideSafe reason it was necessary to collect data from the horse itself while it was running at a high speed during a race. There shouldn't even be horseback. There shouldn't be these races. I mean, it's for gambling, and these horses are they're not treated well. I mean, in terms of, they're worth a lot of money, so they have that, but it's just not a good thing. Like, there's too many injuries and too much, it's just unnecessary. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think it'll stop, but it seems like something that should just go away. So here it is here talking about, they have a video of it.
They're at risk. And I honestly believe that this is a game-changing technology. And we started this program in Saratoga this year. And I think I just want to share with you the bottom line here is this will make a difference. This is a wearable, novel technology that can help us reduce fatalities. I'm absolutely convinced of it. And I hope.
Okay, so I don't know if this thing has had anything to do with, it's a wearable biometric technology. It's electromagnetic pollution's a big thing with the whispers of the brighter world messages from the Sizemore system. All this waves of these various types of waves, gamma rays, and now microwaves, of course, and millimeter waves, which is 5G, and we're being bombarded by these things. That's what NASA said. NASA said that we're all being bombarded by these various waves now. Like the TV takes one thing, of course we have Wi-Fi and internet stuff, and then things to do with our phone and all these things. And then all the stuff that's bouncing around our house, our appliances are communicating in these things. And it has a negative effect on our subtle bodies, our spiritual subtle bodies, and then also our physical health. And, who knows about what this is doing to horses, but it's a mess, right? And they've done studies, and they haven't made them public of what that's going to do to everybody. One thing it's going to make men sterile, and women going to have trouble retaining a child. So it's going to reduce the population. I mean, that's at least something I'm almost positive it's part of it. But anyways, we don't know about the horses. Houston rapper Big Pokey, the partner of Little Gumby, dies at 45 after collapsing on stage in Texas. There's Big Pokey there. They don't know. No cause of death was given, but probably heart-related if he collapsed on stage. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tops Biden and Trump, sending shockwaves across presidential campaigns. The email from Robert F. Kennedy office reads, the latest poll is sending shockwaves across the political class in Washington, D.C. After being in the race for less than 2 months, Kennedy is viewed favorably by 49% of those polled, Biden at 42%, and Trump comes in third at 43%. And so, I don't know, this is some kind of straw poll. I don't know if this has significance, but that would be all interesting. And to go along with this, Joe Rogan, I saw a tweet came up, and this is Joe trying to bully Dr. Otis. Mark Cuban got involved. Way to talk in generalities, Joe. Not saying there aren't a lot of effed up things about pharma, so I guess there was that. But there was this thing here. I don't know where Joe Rogan's actual thing, but Steve Kirsch said, I just upped Joe Rogan debate offer to $600,000 for Hotes to debate RFK Jr. And so they want this guy who's pro boop to pro you know what to debate RFK Jr. who isn't, and they're offering the guy $600,000 to debate him, and he's not willing to do it. Joe Rogan's offering $5,000, and this guy Steve Kirsch added $100,000, or so it says I added $100,000 to make it $600,000 to debate him. Sadly, Hotes nor any other expert will not debate any misinformation spreader. They're all afraid of things like facts and data. I don't know if this is staged or not. I don't know who this guy Steve Kirsch is. My wife has talked about him. He's a anti-boop I don't know about these things, but I do know Twitter is promoting these things, this story, because on my phone it's been recommended numerous times. I'm not a follower of Joe Rogan or any of these other people, but I've opened up my phone. Yeah, I turned on my phone in the morning, and Twitter has notified me about this thing, so they're really pushing this debate on Twitter. Speaking of which, Elon Musk rebukes Joe Biden for claiming that LGBTQI, or is that L? No, it's I, because there's that L. Kids are all our kids, not your kids. I don't know what the I is. They've added I. So here's the article here from Fox News. Musk's remarks came one day after the White House condemned a trans activist for appearing topless on the White House lawn. These are our kids. These are our neighbors, not someone else's kids. They're all our kids. Posted in a video on Twitter on Monday.
It's wrong that the violence and hate crimes targeting LGBTQ people is rising. It's wrong that extreme officials are pushing hateful bills targeting transgender children, terrifying families, and criminalizing doctors. These are our kids. These are our neighbors. It's cruel and it's callous. Not somebody else's kids. They're all our kids. They're the kids, and our children are the kite strings that hold our national ambitions aloft. It matters a great deal how we...
Okay, so that's the video. Here's Joe Biden's official Twitter page with his Pride Month flag. And this is what they said on Fox News. Elon Musk said, you are the government. They are not your kids. Meaning not just any of these, American kids like Joe Biden is saying they're his kids. So that happened. Shared a link to a movie on Amazon Prime. Beat up a 17-year-old kid. And the idea was that his contract with Nike was canceled and his wasn't. There was more to it. It was a Facebook post. But I don't have the caption here. I only got half of it. I got the picture, but not the person wrote up how Nike is still sticking with Moran, who has multiple incidences that are more severe than sharing a link to a movie that's still on Amazon Prime that was considered anti-Semitic. Operation Midnight Climax, how CIA ran an LSD-fueled brothel from San Francisco's safe house at the height of the Cold War to see if truth serum hallucinogens could be weaponized against the Soviets. So that's pretty much, self-explanatory. That's a really good headline for what it's about. So I saw that they traded this basketball player named Bradley Beal. And I clicked on this video, and I was opening up tabs, and it was playing in the background. This guy is, sort of a financial guru of, basketball contracts and things like this. And this is from ESPN. And I was only half listening to it because I already, I almost forgot it was playing. But then he said this.
Your first round pick, which it will be in 2032, God forsake, who knows if we're all going to be here by then.
Who knows if we're all going to be here by then in 2032. The Phoenix Suns don't have a first-round draft pick till 2032. The NBA has made rules that are to, get rid of dynasties, and particularly Golden State Warriors. They have changed the rules to make it. They have these, financial, what they call a luxury tax, where there are teams that spend more than they are allowed to spend. So, like, you can spend something like $200 million a year on salaries, and after that, they start fining you. And the Golden State Warriors were just paying the fines. They actually sold some of their ownership, sold some of their equity to keep their financial ways going so that they could compete into the future. And the NBA, and not just the Golden State Warriors, but other teams. But the NBA, this shows you how rigged it is, right? That they set up the rules that, teams couldn't do that. They tried to level the playing field financially, same in football. They want, parity. They want, whatever. So they set up these rules, and the Phoenix Suns have mortgaged their future to have a chance at winning the championship. They just made a trade for this guy, Bradley Beal. But what this guy just said is, God knows if any of us will be around by then. In 2032, that's only, what is that, like 8 years away? So, or 9 years away. And it seems like a long time. But, even this guy is wondering how much longer we're going to be here, right? As a, country or world or whatever it is. So that happened. Pete Davidson, it wasn't that bad. Beverly Hills house he hit, now razed. So this is the house that Pete Davidson hit in a drunken stupor that he's now being charged. The house was demolished. The home Pete Davidson smashed into with a Mercedes-Benz is no more. It's like gone. Nothing but a mound of dirt for some mysterious reason. Well, I guess after Pete Davidson comes into your house, that's what you got. It's kind of like a human cockroach. So, that happened. My wife sent me this morning. So there seems to be like a tornado possibly here. And these guys are trying to keep their trampoline from going. Maybe it's something else. And then that happened. I don't know if that's fake. It looks a little fake, but then I think that's how tornadoes lift things up. But right here is the kind of, either way, it's well done. Like it's a wizard. Carol Ann Higgins, best-selling author and actress, dies at 66. Her cause of death was appendix cancer. Then there was this. One of my viewers sent me a video on Instagram of a woman doing performance dance to this subject, and it was really weird. Not something I could show here, but it raised some interesting points. So, the United States, in terms of the amount of pharmaceutical drugs, is we consume 75% of all the world's prescription drugs. So that's, I mean, think about that. 75%. So you would think that in terms of this health model, if that worked, we would be the healthiest country in the world. And there's different ways of thinking about this. Like, America is considered to have a pretty good healthcare system. We're not certainly ranked overall. Says here, despite having the most expensive healthcare system, the United States ranks last overall compared with 6 other industrialized countries: Australia, Canada, Germany, and Netherlands, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, on measures of quality, efficiency of care, and eligibility to lead long, healthy lives. Another way of looking at it is the U.S. has the lowest life expectancy at birth, the highest death rates for avoidable or treatable conditions, the highest maternal and infant mortality, among the highest suicide rates. U.S. has the highest rate of people with multiple chronic conditions, and obesity rate nearly twice that of, I guess, OECD average. And then there was this. This is life expectancy. America is at number 40 at 78.51. Japan at number 1 with 84.22. So if you think about that, certainly the amount of pharmaceutical drugs that Americans are consuming, and you think about that we're the richest country in the world, and we have the best military, and some of the other aspects, the best lifestyle, it doesn't translate into good health, right? Something I've said for a while. I don't take pharmaceutical drugs because it is, it's a for-profit healthcare system that only is profitable if you remain sick. Being sick and being on lots of pharmaceutical drugs is, chronic illness is how the healthcare system works here. These statistics bear that out. Meghan Markle's appeared downcast after first sighting since Spotify split. The New York Post doesn't like Meghan Markle's. There she is there, and then they ran this on page 6. Same thing. Meghan Markle looks somber, word that I like to use. First sighting since Spotify deal. It's inconclusive. But, the one thing that we do know is people do not want to listen to Meghan Markle's. She had a podcast, and they don't want to listen to her and Harry. Not to any, to the kind of income that they would want to have based in that. Jocelyn Whittlestein says she's broke ahead of a new documentary based on her lifestyle. Reclusive socialite Jocelyn Wilderson, known as the Catwoman due to her expensive plastic surgery, talks about how she is broke ahead of an upcoming HBO documentary. That's no one needs to see that. Bob Huggins resigns as West Virginia coach after DUI arrest. This guy said some homophobic things. I talked about how my nephew, who was aspiring to be a basketball coach, he now is a pharmaceutical executive. My nephew is like 6 years younger than me, and he did some basketball coaching, and he sat behind Bob Huggins when he coached. Wasn't West Virginia, it was Cincinnati or one of those other. He's coached a few different teams, and he said Bob Huggins M&F'd his team, M&F'd this, M&F'd that for like 10 minutes, in a game he was watching live, and he said he was my new hero. Very, like Bobby Knight, if those people know who Bobby Knight is, but even maybe a little bit worse. And, he wasn't long for the NBA, even in West Virginia. I mean, the college basketball coaching. Bob Cranston jokes Burt Reynolds gave him his famed porn stash when he died. I often talk about the porn stash. And there it is. And he's got it. Lauren Sanchez flaunts massive engagement ring on European getaway with Jeff Bezos. And there they are together. And there's the giant ring. And I don't know how much it says that it costs $2.5 million. That's what he's doing with your Amazon money. Amanda Bynes, detained by police for mental health evaluation, report says. Some sort of video here. I guess somebody zoomed in and got her. I don't know what this is. There's Amanda Bynes there. Amanda Bynes reportedly in police custody again amid going mental health struggles. I don't know. We don't, hard times for Amanda Bynes. BB Rexha struck in face by phone toss from crowd while performing in New York City. Somebody threw a phone at her. She's going to walk here. You can see the phone bounce off her face. Boom. That sucks. She had to go down the ground. So, fans ain't happy. I don't know. People are disappointed. BB Rexa. Dead woman found alive inside coffin at wake has died 1 week later. An Ecuadorian woman who seemingly rose from the dead when she began knocking on the inside of a coffin at her own funeral has been declared dead 7 days later. 76-year-old was confirmed dead Friday evening, spent a week in intensive care following cryptic awakening. This time my mother did die. My life will not be the same, her son Gilbert Barbera said. So yeah, she was dead, came back to life, and then died again, only freaking out her family members. That occasionally happens where somebody, they think they're dead, but somehow they come back to life. And, that's a real bummer for people. Breaking Bad actor's cause of death confirmed 2 weeks after he died at age 52. It was caused, the actor was best known for playing laundromat manager Dennis Markowski on Breaking Bad. He said that he had a heart attack. So, not really that big news for the effort it took me to figure that out. Killer whales are not our friends. Stop rooting for the orcas ramming boats. In recent months, workers in the waters of Iberian Peninsula have taken to ramming boats. The animals have already sunk 3 this year and damaged several more. After one of the larger incidents in which a catamaran lost both of its rudders, the boat's captain suggested that the assailants have grown stealthier and more efficient. Looks like they knew exactly what they are doing. He said scientists have documented hundreds of orca boat incidents off the Spanish Portuguese coast since 2020. But news of these coverage attacks is blowing up right now thanks to a creative new theory about what's happening. The orcas are doing this on purpose, said this guy. Of course, we don't know the origin of the motivation, but the defensive behavior based on trauma as well as all of this gains more strength every day. I don't know. I'm still kind of rooting for the orcas. Okay, so I got my own story about the world breaking down, and I wanted to tell this maybe a week ago. But I went to the Indian market, where they sell Indian groceries. And it's about 25 minutes from my house. It used to be like 35 minutes, but they the main road that goes to my house, from the city is, been upgraded the past couple of years where they put in off ramps, exits, and things like that. So I I went to the place, got what I needed, and I was going to go get back on the highway. Yeah, you have to get on a couple of highways, one highway to the other highway to my house. And it's a small city, not a huge city, but a pretty big city, but it's on the outskirts. And they are doing work on the on-ramp, which I didn't realize, and I was like, maybe I can fit through there, like one of those things where I'm turning onto where, there's construction basically. And so I had to get out of there, and I had my phone give me directions home, right? And so it took me through all these back roads, busy roads that are, with a lot of strip mall stuff on them. And I'm going through all these roads, and it wanted me to take a left. And right before the left I was supposed to take, there was a left that was closed. Another road was closed, right? And, I went through this. There was like potholes, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like some post-apocalyptic, place that's taken me through all these empty stores that used to be, that I've only lived here, 5 years since I, got married. And so these stores that used to be open are now closed, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on, right? It's just bleak. In the spring and in the summer, it looks pretty nice here. The winter's a little bit gray and, kind of looks beaten down, but the whole place looks beaten down, even in the middle of the summer, right, where all the trees are out. It's just, I'm like, wow, it's really bad here. And then I go to get on the highway, like I've gone through the whole city, multiple turns, and just at one point, like I was waiting to take a turn, that turn where there was the road before it was closed. And, my lane is so backed up, it's backed up for like a mile. It's 2-lane road, and on the right, cars are just going by. And it takes me 4 lights to take this turn, right? And then just when it's my turn to go, like there's 2 cars ahead of me, an ambulance comes by. I'm like, what is this? Some kind of like a dream or something? Like, how could all this stuff be happening? Like a video game. This ambulance comes up, so I missed the light again. Like just when, I spent 5 or 6 minutes, 7 minutes at this one intersection. And I get on the highway, and I go to get off the highway to get on another highway, or there's an on-ramp, and there's a cop, and I don't know if the car was an accident. There's some people laying on the side of the road, but people are going by the cop and the cars, and they're stopping for some reason. The cop isn't making them stop, and I'm like, oh my God, was it a checkpoint? And so that takes another 10 minutes. And then I get on the highway, something else happened. Like I can't remember, it's like a week ago. And there's a back way to go, it's a little bit longer, that I used to go sometimes before they did all the new renovations on the main road. And it takes you past the main road that, now has become a little bit of a highway. And then it, turns into like a strip mall road. And my phone is telling me to go the longer way. And I'm like, that can't be right. And I go to get off, and it's backed up. Like I can't even get in, get over because the traffic's back for like 2 miles. And there's a traffic jam. And then a big flatbed tow truck pulls by me on the right, and then goes up, and I get up to where the problem is, and there's an accident. So like another, place where usually it would be a quick ride home, like 10 minutes. And then I, finally get on the road to go home. Like, well, at least, this will be easy because there's less and less traffic the closer I get to my house. Like I live out in the outskirts in a country area. And, there's a 4-way stop close to my house, and it's never more than a 2-car wait, right? Maybe there's 4 cars all at once, but the traffic flows there pretty well. And I get to it. It's only 4 o'clock. It's not even rush hour yet. And I get to it, and there's 20 cars like waiting at the stops, maybe 15 cars. And I'm like, what is going on, right? And so I had another day. I talked about this in my most recent journey video. It's coming out. I'm not going to go through it. But I had a little bit of what I call a cleaning day on Friday. where, a lot of frustrating things happen. And, there was a hose that got cut, and I put a replacement cap on it, but, those things don't always hold so well. And that thing broke off because of the water pressure. I was transplanting some plants. It took me a while to fix that. When I finally fixed it, I realized my tractor had a flat tire on it. And I had a call with a YouTube guy, like one of these ad guys, which I just talked to today. And I put up a video today on my channel. Look, that's coming back around here. But I didn't know if I'd be back in time to get the tire dropped off at the tractor place. But there was a place closer by that is like a regular tire. And sometimes they'll do like tractor tires. And tractor tires are just small, car tires. The ones that I have on the front of the tractor. And so I go in there, and the guy is talking on the phone. This guy is like, I think maybe a war veteran, is an amputee, and he has a prosthetic leg. And he's outside talking on the phone. And he sees me coming, and he ditches he just leaves. And I walk in, there's nobody at the front desk because he's on this personal call. He comes back out, and he asks me, what I need. I say, I have a tractor tire. Can you fix it? And he's like, no, we don't do that. And I was kind of questioned because I thought they did. But it seemed like he just didn't want to take the business. And so, I drive home, and I'm, wondering if I should just go see if I can pump up the tire because it looks like the seal might be broken. But I get to like a roundabout, and a truck for the tractor business drives by me. I'm like, well, that's probably a sign I need to bring it to them. So I, end up bringing it to them the next day. But anyways, I get home, and the guy, misses the call. Like there's some kind of group call, like a Google, a Zoom thing Google has. And I end up talking to myself again where I'm signed on my browser on my computer, and I'm also on my phone, and I'm the only person on there. I taped a little bit of me talking to myself. I'm not going to play it here. I'll try to find it, put it here. I don't have enough time because I'm running out of time. That's part of what I'm getting at here. But the guy writes me and says that the meeting was at 4, but I sent him back, a screenshot of his email, and it was at 4:30. He said he called my number, but he didn't because there was no record of it. And I had my phone the whole time. I had my phone at 4. And so I'm already frustrated with YouTube, and I ended up talking to the guy today. And after a 45-minute conversation, and I covered this on my other channel, there was this way of putting in YouTube channels similar to mine where they can run the ads, right? And so I asked my viewers, some of you guys, responded to this already, a lot of you. And so I started doing that, but, that set me back, and we had to bring we have an old van that my son drives. It's got like 200,000 miles, and it runs pretty well, but like after, kind of wrecked my old van, so, it's the only one I'm kind of willing to let him drive. And he said it smelled like gas. And I went outside, and I thought it smelled a little bit like antifreeze. And he said, well, no, it only smelled like gas after he drove it for a while. It got worse. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's smelling. So we're going to drop it off at that same tire place. They do other things there. And I get in there. There's another guy, like, sitting there, and he's just laid out, right? And they do more than just tires there. And I say, well, our car smells like gas or antifreeze. We need to have it checked out. He's like, well, I don't have anybody here to do that. I'm like, well, we can leave it. He goes, no, we just, we don't just do that anymore. Like he's in like a reclined position, like not in a customer service position. And I'm like, this place I'm never coming back here. It's bad. Like I'm just, I don't know if these guys are all just pushing business away, but I could see that they're just, lazy, and, it's probably falling apart. They don't, this probably be closed soon. And so we have another mechanic who's great, but he's gotten so busy, and he's like a month out before you can bring it in. Like you have to make an appointment, and you got to drop the car off the night before. It's a whole thing, and we don't have time for that. So I find another place, and I drop the car off there, and I come home, and I'm like, wow, it's so late, right? I'm like, what's going on? Like the world is falling apart. Like, it's just, there's been some other things. I mean, people I've seen out there, it made me go like, holy, boop, right? Just like the world is just like everything's just like breaking down, and nothing's running like it used to. I mean, I don't go out much, and when I do, I'm always surprised at the fall off. There's like a huge fall off out there. I don't know if other people are noticing it, but it's getting like post-apocalyptic, and we haven't even started the apocalypse yet. Anyways, just thought I'd share those things. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.